Hi, welcome back to Victorious Christian Living. I'm going to be talking about the Bible in a second, but I want to thank all of you who wrote to me and kept me going on my trip to Yuma from Salem, Oregon. On my way back, I spent 26 hours on the road, stopping every once in a while for a couple of hours of sleep in my van, and it was a lot of fun, but I'm missing the sun now that I'm back in the rain. Anyway, I want to talk to you about the Bible. Stop looking at the Bible as a book. Stop looking at the Bible as a book. This is overwhelming. I got to read this book, and it's thick, and it's hard to understand, and I got to read it. Where do I start, and what do I do? And oh my goodness, it's a huge book. But the Bible's not a book. It's a compilation of writings. It's a compilation of stories about history and wars and fights, and it's a book with poems and songs from King David, and it's a book about prophecy. It's got things about prophecy and prophecies that came true, and then it's got the history of Jesus's birth, life, and death and resurrection, and then it's got letters, all these wonderful letters from the apostles to the churches that they had been visiting and teaching and helping to grow in the Lord and spread the good news. It's an amazing group of writings. And I have always looked at it as a book in my life. Oh, it's a book. I've got to read my Bible. But I find it much easier to say, okay, I'm going to read this letter from Paul to the Thessalonians, where he probably wrote from prison, and I want to know what was going on. What was going on in Thessalonica during that time? And why was Paul writing to them? What was happening? And how does that apply to my life now? I can take those writings, First Timothy, and I can take all those, I can take the Acts of the Apostles, all that history of what the apostles did right after Pentecost, and I can look at those stories, and I can look at that history, and I can see what was happening then, and those people must have been so confused and so amazed and so in wonder that they were the generation that this all happened to. So I like to read it that way, in little bits and pieces, and find out how they were functioning and how that applies to me and how that can help me in my life today. So I would like to encourage you not to look at the Bible as a book, one book, but to look at the Bible as a compilation of writings, of history, of proverbs, of poems, of songs, of letters, and pick them out and read them, and I think you'll find it much easier. I hope that this encourages you to do that, because I really do think that this helps us in our victorious Christian living walk. So I hope that you will like, subscribe, comment, whatever it is that you want to do at the end of this video. I really want to help you and help myself get to the basics of walking with God. Christ said, "My burden is light. Take my yoke upon you. It's easy, my burden is light." And so I want us to live victoriously. And if you're not living victorious Christian life because of the burdens of the church, or the burdens of society, or the things that are going on in the world, or even the burden of thinking you've got to read this book, please contact me and let me help you live a more victorious Christian life. Thanks. I love you. God bless.